to Amanda's Bookish Adventures. We will be doing a mini vlog today, and it will be reading Practical Magic, and we will be watching the movie, and I'll be discussing how I feel about the book and how I feel about the movie. I have watched the movie a bunch of times, so I love the movie. That is not a problem. This is, well, there's prequel books to this, but I wanted to read Practical Magic because I love the movie, and I didn't even know it was a book until I found Goodreads and BookTube. Someone said it was a book, and I was like, oh, so it is kind of a classic, because I don't know when the movie came out. Excuse me, I don't know when the movie came out. I want to say in the 90s. So we'll be reading this and watching the movie. I will update you when I get to the first 100 pages, but I thought it would be something fun to do. It's only 286 pages. I'm back with my first update. I got to page 117. So it kind of starts out like in the movie where with the situation with the parents, which are different situations with the parents. But I don't want to kind of spoil that because it's different in the book and in the movie. But it does start out with the girls going to the aunt's house. But this book doesn't really have chapters. It has sections like clairvoyance or superstition or premonition. Those are, and then you read a big chapter. It doesn't break until you get to the not a big chapter. You don't get a break until you get to the next section of the book. So that kind of really did kind of trip me up. So, but I forgot to read what the book is about in case if you've watched the movie, you know what it is about. But the book came out the year I was born, so that I found was really cool. But let me read what the back of the book says. For more than 200 years, the Owens women have been blamed for everything that went wrong in their Massachusetts town, and Gillian and Sally endured their fate as well. As children, the sisters were forever outsiders, taunted, talked about, pointed at. The elderly aunts always seemed to encourage the whispers of witchery with the musty house and their exotic contortions in the crowd of black cats, but all Gillian and Sally wanted was to escape. One would do so by marrying, the other by running away, but the bonds that they shared even in adulthood brought them back almost as if by magic. It is different from the movie. This is, like you say, how I said the girls start out with what in the movie, but it goes by their ages. Like, you read what happens when they're kids, you read what happens when they're 16, and then you read what happens in their 20s, and the situation with Sally's husband, Michael. We had more time with Michael in this book. With the first section, we had more time to get to know Michael. I never knew his name in the movie because of what happens. It's so quick. I can't even remember if that's his name in the movie. With her two kids, they're little kids in the movie, so I know that's different in the book. Where I am now, her daughter, the oldest daughter, I think her name is Antonia, is 16, and the youngest daughter is 13, and that's Kylie. I think they changed the oldest daughter's name in the movie, so I'm definitely going to be looking for that when I watch the movie. It's very interesting with the parts and not having chapters, with like you just read a section and you read it straight through. I'm finding it unique and I am finding it interesting. But some of the situations have happened that it does in the movie, if you know what the movie is, but they're different. They're not. So it's very different. I would be intrigued to see this be remade as like I think it'd be cool if they did remade it. But with the prequels, like make it a TV show and do prequels, like flashes of the two prequel books and this book and then the next book. That there is a direct sequel is coming out to this month on October 12th. So that's probably when I'll post the video. It's not coming up, this mini vlog is not coming this week, but it will come on next week. I'm pre-filming this. Well, not pre-filming it, it's just you won't see it. I have all my videos filmed for this week. But because I know so much about the movie, I didn't feel like I needed to read the prequels, but I think before I read the second book in this series, I will go back and read the prequels, because I already know what the story is from the movie. It is different in the book, but I do know what the story is. But I'd like to know more about the prequels before I get into the the direct sequel of this book. And they updated the cover of this book. Well, I don't know if they probably still sell this edition, but it has a 25-year release edition I saw on Goodreads that the book covers yellow, but with the shoe. But the rest of the books in the series are all yellow. So if I do end up collecting this book series, I think I would get the edition where it's yellow to match the other covers. So it's interesting because in the movie they talk about the curse. And in this book, it does not talk about the family curse at all. So, but I did read the premise of the second one, and that in the second book, that's the direct sequel, it does talk about the curse. So maybe later on in the book, it'll talk about the curse. I don't know. But I do want to go back and read those other novels. I don't know if I'll get to them this month because I have so much on my TBR to read. But maybe I'll get to them in November. Still the spooky season, still fall. So I think that's probably what I will do for November. Well, that's it for this update. I think I'm going to update you guys when I finish the book because one of the sections is huge. I kind of checked to see how many sections, and I think there's only 2 more sections in the book, and the last section is huge. There is no stopping point. You just read it directly. Like, you could stop at a page and, like, get up for a break, but straight on, you couldn't, like, when I read books, I don't like to stop. The only way I stop is at the end of the chapter, especially if I'm the only time I ever end a book mid-chapter is if I want to go to bed. I like starting fresh on a new chapter when I read a book. So it is kind of tripping me up on that aspect. So there is that. But before I get back into it, I think I will have some dinner. I will update you when I finish this, and I'm going to watch the movie regardless tonight. But I will review the book first, and then I'll watch the movie and review the movie. But until then, I will see you in the next clip. So I'm back with an update. I know I said I would update you guys when I finish, but I have to talk about that section. So the section I just read, I think it's called Clairvoyance. I believe it's called Clairvoyance, and a lot of stuff happened in that section. Jillian kind of started moving on with her life. And I actually like the side of Jillian. I think I like Jillian in the book a bit better than the movie, but I'm going to watch the movie a bit later. It's about 11:30 here at night, so I have nothing to do tomorrow, so I might just finish this and watch the movie. It just really depends. If I finish this and watch the movie tomorrow, I'll still update this, but... So Sally's daughters have never been close. They fought like cats and dogs. In the movie, you see the girls are close, they stand up to each other. Not in the book. Not till this section where a really scary situation happened to Kylie, the youngest daughter. I don't want to say what the situation is, but it was an absolutely scary situation, and in reading it, my heart started to race. And it clicked, and now they're really close, like the older two. I will have to admit, this is completely different than the movie. And I'm actually loving this. I still will think of the movie as a retelling, like it does have aspects of the book, but not all of it. So, at this section, Jilly's kind of rebuilding her life. Has a new place to work. There's a new person in her life that she's considering things with. But I think I need to be sure, because I don't want to say... I know and Sally was like basically kind of the main character, and she is a main character in the book, but they focused on Sally's life and a little on Jillian. But I know in the movie she gets with a guy, I can't remember his name after her husband Michael passed, but there has been no mention of this man in this book. So I think what happened is, like I said, it's kind of retelling. They changed things up. But I don't remember the name of the guy in the movie that she gets with. So at this point, there is no mention of a man for Sally. I did read the premise of book 2 for the direct sequel to this that comes out on October 12th. And hold on, came in and scared me. So what I was saying, in the second premise of the book, it says then Sally starts focusing on love. I think maybe we'll see a glimpse in this next section. to see if there is a situation, if there is a person she would focus on. But I'm wondering in the movie, when I watch the movie, when I find out who the name is of the guy she gets with, if that was just a fictional character or if it's a character in this book that was meant for something else. I do not know. So I'm interested in seeing. I don't know for sure when I'll finish this, but I will definitely update this vlog once I finish it, and then I will turn on the movie. Overall, because of how good it is, and because the sections kind of mess me up because it's not like a normal book, I thought I would give it a 4 stars because it's written so well, but it might be a 5 stars. It just depends on the next section and how I feel about it, but still, it being sections and not chapters has really messed me up. With my dyslexia, I want to see the number 1 or the number 15 in the chapter. So it definitely is confusing me, but I want to read more, so I'm definitely going to reserve the prequel novels, and then I'll read the second volume in the sequel to this one. I'm a bit nervous to read we did get to read from the ancestors' point of view a bit of the story of her story in this one, so that was really interesting, and I would like to read the prequel of her entire story. But I'm really interested in the other prequel of one of the ants. That's what I know. It's one of the ants' story. So I'm really interested in that one. But oh boy, this is good. And I recommend it. Especially how beloved that movie is to me. This is becoming a beloved book. So we'll see how it goes and what happens next. And I will update you when I finish the book. That I can promise, because there is no more sections. It's straight on. There is no break at this point. Alright, I will talk to you once I finish the book, and I will give you my thoughts, and then I will watch the movie, give you my thoughts on the movie. I'll see you in a little. So I finished it, and it's a 5 stars. I'm really satisfied with the ending, and reading that last section kind of clicked in place what parts of the book they took from, what parts of the book they used for the movie. The only thing in the movie, I haven't watched it yet, but from what I remember, the only thing in the movie that they didn't do was show Jillian's growth in this book. But maybe it's because if they did all what they wanted, if they used all of this, the movie would have been too long for back then. I still recommend making this a series. I am confused about the premise of the second book, so I'm definitely going to have to read it, because the guy in the movie who she goes for is Gary, and he was mentioned, but he was mentioned in the last section of the book. So it makes sense about it, so I'm a bit confused about the next book, but it does come out, so I'm going to upload this video on the 13th, but the book, the second book that's a direct sequel from this, comes out on the 12th. I want to read the prequels because in the last section, we got to know a little more about the ants, like their story with love. It still didn't say anything about the curse, and maybe I misread, but it did talk about other family members other than their ancestor Maria and the ants. It talked about other family members, which didn't in the show, so it was very interesting to see more of their bloodline. So there is that. I'm gonna have to watch the movie tomorrow because it is 3 a.m. and I need some sleep. I didn't expect it to take me so long, but I took a break and I just wanted to finish it. So I did finish it, and it's really good. It is a 5 stars. I need up Goodreads. But it makes more sense that the first section of the book is like part of the movie, and then the last section. Some of the in-between, the other 2 sections are in the movie, but the first and the last section is like a big chunk of the movie, from what I remember. So it will be interesting to go back and watch the movie since I've read this. Alright, that's it for tonight, but I will update you tomorrow when I watch the movie. And welcome back for the Practical Magic movie mini vlog, book and movie mini vlog. Unfortunately, I could not find where to watch Practical Magic free. Every subscription either wants you to rent it or it does not have it, and I don't have extra cash, which makes me really, really sad because I'd have loved to have done the book and the movie. I I think maybe it was on HBO Max at one time, and it's not now. So I am going to talk about what I remember from the movie and then wrap up this vlog. I remember it starts out with the girls going to the aunt's house after their mother died, and it talks about the curse of if you hear the beetle, then your true love or your husband dies. It's a curse that their ancestor placed on their family because her true love abandoned her to be hung. That's what I remember from the movie. I don't know if it's like that in the books. It's not really like that in the books because I did read from Maria's Ancestry Probe and it talked about the baby and the thing, but it didn't talk about the curse. But in the book, her husband died because she heard the beetle. They heard the beetle and he couldn't, and he got so scared. He did everything. He listened to the ants. They tried everything to stop that beetle from killing him or to stop his fate from death. So that's really scary. It goes on from the girls being bullied like it is in the book, and then Jillian running away with a guy, and she does it in with the same guy in the book, and then Jillian moves on from guy, cut off. Jillian runs away with that guy in the book, like I said in the last clip, and then we got cut off. And then she goes from guy to guy, like I said, until she meets Jimmy. And then she was with Jimmy for many, many years until she calls up Sally and says, Sally, I need your help. In the movie, she knows Sally is in danger. There's blood on the moon. And right when she writes that letter that Gary reads, her love perspective reads in the book and in the movie, she runs to the phone and she says, hey, what's going on? So she drives all the way, I don't know if she drives all the way out to, or flies out all the way out to wherever Jillian is. I can't remember. When she gets there, that she got her car and they're driving, or rental or whatever, she gets there, Jillian sees the blood on the moon and she goes to get her tiger's eye. Well, Jimmy's in that car waiting for her. Jimmy's holding a gun to her head, and Sally basically is trying to fight him, and he's like, you drive or I shoot your sister. Well, in the movie, she's like, he's not seeing it, so I think it's her, Jillian, telepathically talking to Sally about, put this in his drink, he will fall asleep, and then we could leave. They put too much in his drink. Sally put too much in his drink because she's never done that. She's never drugged someone. It was not like that. Well, they killed him. He was dead. So that didn't really work. The aunts and the girls, Sally's daughters, were out on I would say they were celebrating a solstice festival with the witch community. Well, they try to bring him back with dark magic, but Sally in the movie begged them to bring her husband back. And the aunt said, no, it would not be your husband. It would not come back human. It would not be that person you love. Well, they attempt to bring Jimmy back. It wasn't Jimmy. It was, well, I would say it was Jimmy, because Jimmy was a dark person, but darker than he was. So they ended up killing him a second time. So they bury him in the backyard, and they thought they were done with it. Well, the youngest daughter, Kylie, starts seeing him everywhere. And I think the daughter, Antonia, I don't know if that's her name in the movie. It is in the book. The oldest daughter's name is Antonia. I'm going to have to check. I don't know if I can check that, but so I'll just stick with what I know. They start seeing him places. Well, the aunts one night start having, and the Sally doesn't really understand what's going on. Neither does Jillian. They're just spending time with the Jillian's, getting to know her nieces and get reacquainted with the aunts. Well, they start to have a margarita party. And it's the bottle that they put the little thing in. And she's like, I just found it on the porch. And then they freaked out. Sally or Jillian broke the bottle from what I remember. And the aunts are like, are you going to tell us what's going on? And they said, no, nothing's going on. So the aunts leave. They give the girls, their great nieces, a rope around their neck to protect him from the spirit. So they leave. And then Gary starts showing up, the cop, saying, I read your letter. And they start, and Jillian's like, oh, let me handle it. But Sally's like, I can't lie to him. I just can't. When Sally was a kid, she did a spell for true love, like these qualities that were impossible to have. Riding on a horse backwards, blue or green eyes, and there he is, and that's her absolute true love. And she couldn't lie to him. Well, Jillian does this spell, and on like syrup, and Gary's making pancakes for the girls, and they talk to their Aunt Jillian about this spell they found in their mom by my dad, who scared me again. So the girls ask their Aunt Jillian about the spell they see in their mom's little spell book that she had when she was a kid, and they're like, is this spell about Daddy? And Aunt Jillian's like, yeah, it's about your dad. But they're like, our dad had brown eyes. So she's like, your mommy wrote this spell so she would never fall in love and stuff. Well, the girls knew their mom was sad. It has been sad for a long time since their dad has passed. So they were giving the syrup to the cop, and once he started doing all the stuff that's in the spell, and they knew he was the mom's true love, they run to the side of the cliff, and they chuck the syrup off the cliff. He goes up and he's like, what was in that syrup? And he gets so angry. And then Sally and Jillian argue. And then Sally goes to confess. She tells him everything, and he doesn't believe her. He's like, we need to get you a lawyer. You shouldn't be telling me this. You have kids. Well, Sally goes back to talk to Jillian, and then Jillian is possessed by Jimmy. And he goes sees her, and Jimmy talks to him in the ghost form. He gets out of Jillian's body for a minute, and Gary was able to protect Sally by holding up the badge. His badge was a star, so it repelled the ghost. Well, he didn't know, and she confessed on how she killed him, like how they killed him, but he kind of killed his spirit. Well, he kind of leaves and goes back to Arizona, and the aunts come back. Jillian is still possessed, and so they call on a coven of women from town to help get this man out of Jillian. They needed a coven for the spell. Well, the spell was not working, but then Sally knew what to do. She cut her palm, she cut Jillian's palm, and together they held hands and they did the spell, and it worked. And that spell worked all the way back. It showed to show their ancestor Maria feeling that. It broke their family curse. So as that happened, Jimmy's gone. They're burning the roses. They're burning anything that involved Jimmy. And they poured the potion you've seen in the movie before that on where Jimmy was buried. Well, she gets a letter from Arizona saying Jamie was found dead, blah, blah, blah. And Sally goes into the whole package, like, looking, and her sister Jillian's like, he's not there. And so Jillian does another spell, or not Jillian, Sally does another spell and kind of sends him a little love letter, and he knows it's from her. And he comes to see them, and that was it. He moves to town. He's with the girls. The girls absolutely love him. Well, at the end of the movie, they jump off the roof with umbrellas, and the whole town's watching, and the whole town is amazed, and that was how it ended. So Sally got her true love, and I love the movie. But in the book, Jillian actually had growth. Like, she grew up she realized her mistakes. She realized with what happened with her parents, she always felt abandoned. That's why she would run from any guy, is because she wanted to abandon them before they abandoned her. So she grew up, and she actually found her true love in the book. Really great. I would actually love to see this as a series. Rebooted. I'd like this, maybe going from the ancestors book to the aunts, or doing it in flashback sequence, like you see the girls when they're young, and when they first hear about the book, the curse, it goes to Maria doing the cursing, and then and then it will go to the aunts losing the love of their lives. I need to definitely check out the prequel novels to read the stories, because I know in the book Practical Magic it did talk about the ancestor and how, the situation with her true love. It's very different from what it was in the movie, but I would like to know more content of that. I want to read the Ants book, because it told the story about the ants and how they fell in love and how they lost their true love. So it would be very interesting to go back, and I did reread the premise of the second book, and it does mention the death beetle. That was the only curse. It has nothing to do with true love. Not that it says in the premise. Maybe it will say some more in the prequel novels about the curse. But that is it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this mini vlog. It's probably not that many after my little rant to describe the movie. But I will see you in the next video, and I enjoyed this one. Bye!